Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by Living To Do's review of Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 7, called Basement Blues. Before I get started with this review, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out and I would really appreciate it. And I thank you in advance. Also, I wanted to tell you there is a new podcast out there, a YouTube channel called D-List Diaries, and it's the three girls from season 16 of Married at First Sight, Gina, Nicole, and Kirsten. They are doing reviews of Married at First Sight as well. So check them out. I just found them and I just hadn't seen them in a while and they're still friends and it was just good to catch up with them. Okay, let's get started with this review and let's talk about Michelle and David. They go to their shared apartment and they're having a little conversation, and it seems like Michelle wants to find out something negative about David. It's just her questions. Was he good in school? Just certain things. And David said, he was good in school. He had no problems in school. He's never even had a speeding ticket. He seems like an overall good guy. A swing and a miss, Michelle. She thought she can get something, I think, on him to not like him and place all that negative energy that, there and say that, give an excuse why she doesn't like him. But there was nothing there. They get a visit from Dr. Pia and Pastor Cal. Now, the experts came to everyone's place this episode, but this is the only couple where Dr. Pia makes an appearance. Dr. Pia and Pastor Cal find out that David is attracted to his wife. She's everything he wanted. The blonde hair, blue eyes, trophy. He finds her real attractive. Michelle says that's nice to hear. She's sorry that she was very vague in her principle, on her wants of a physical physique and everything she wanted in a man. She was too vague. She didn't mention she wanted a confident man. David's confident, and she wanted a man, I guess, more financially secure, and she didn't mention that. And then they have a flashback where, Dr. Pia met with Michelle 6 weeks earlier, and they discussed a man, her mate, her possible potential mate, living with his parents maybe to save money for a place. And in that scenario, Michelle had no problem with it. She basically said in front of Michelle, or in front of David, Dr. Pia, and Pastor Cal, that she wasn't attracted to him. She was looking for someone to meet, her match, and he's just not meeting her match with lifestyle. Very, very sad. Now David, he's into the relationship. Michelle talked about him not smoking. He stopped smoking. After that point, he said he had not had a cigarette. He's really, really trying to work things out. And Michelle is telling them, she's, it's her. It's just not what she wanted. She also has fears about something, and she started crying, and she was asked what the fear was, and she says it's anxiety and the unknown. Dr. Pia offered no control, and she agreed she would have to relinquish some control, and that's not what she's used to. Dr. Pia said, try allowing David in, and allowing him in is not a weakness. I think she feels that she has attracted this man who's, in her mind, a failure, and because what she perceives him as being a failure makes her a failure, and she doesn't want to attach herself to that. And they all agreed that Michelle is hard on herself. It seems later that night, Michelle stayed at her house. She came back the next day with a little bit of renewed energy. She had a list of ideas of what they could do together. She wants to see Nico Moon. I believe it's some type of artist, musical artist. And she wants to go take a cooking class and maybe go tarot reading and play paddle. Maybe that's pickleball. I don't know what that is. But she came up with the list. And that was really interesting that I don't know if she had a good talking to, like, you better do better. You better find some common ground, or you might have to pay a fee if you quit. I don't know what happened. But she took some time out and she came back with a better attitude. They went over to her apartment and there was this pamphlet or a notebook with some writing in it, and David asked about it, and she said, oh, that's for her dog walker. They leave notes to one another, and she's had the dog walker for 9 years, but she's only met her 3 or 4 times. Once was by accident. It was so crazy to have that. I never thought about it. Someone you trust that much in your house weekly amongst your things when you're not there. Well, that's a great relationship. It's lasted that long. And let's see here. She does have a dog, but the dog wasn't there. I think it's at her sister's house because she wants to wait until she's more comfortable, I think. And then before she brings a dog around. But she does have a cat, and the cat was there. And the cat cozied on up to David. And while Michelle looked on, and Michelle says, she's really needy. Just knowing David and Michelle's situation, and she's making that comment, part of me thought, was she saying the cat is so needy that it would cuddle up to anything? I don't know, maybe not, but I just got a sense of she was kind of put off a little bit that the cat was cuddling up to David. David said that her apartment was okay. It wasn't really wowing him. In fact, he says it's real simple. Oh, you have a simple place. And I don't think she liked being called simple. That didn't seem to go over well. And in the confessional, she said she didn't like that he called her place simple. She said she worked really hard on being successful, and this is what he calls it, simple. And later he was in the car and called it simple and basic. That did not go over well with her at all. Simple and basic? Well, then they go over to David's house, and David's house is in a really nice neighborhood, real manicured neighborhood. He goes to the side entrance with his key. Apparently you walk down, once you go from the front door, looks like you go down some stairs into this basement. And one of the first things you see is a laundry area. And we find out that laundry area is the family laundry area. When Michelle got the concept that the whole family walks down here and goes and uses this washer and dryer, you could see on her face that she took 10 steps back. No. To her, that looked like a crawl space. She was like, so there's no living room? He's showing off his bathroom. He seems really proud of his living area. Though I would have to, I'm the same way. It didn't look like much. David also had a kegerator, that college kegerator for beer or whatnot. David wanted to know what she thought of his place. Do you think something different of me now? That have you met, seen my place, my side entrance? And And she said, this is basically what I thought. You live in your parents' basement. I think I equate it to a grown woman who has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend, who's also grown, has a mattress on the floor. It's just, ooh, why can't you do better than, just the basics? You're not achieving the basics. Let's get off of them and go to Carla and Juan. Well, we would have seen Carla's place, but like on almost every season, there's somebody who doesn't have a place. And apparently Carla, her lease was up right before she got married, so all her stuff is in storage, and we go visit her storage unit. Okay, so that's up with her. After that, we make a quick trip over to Juan's place, where we see his TV stand is a drywall cart. That thing you load up stuff at Home Depot, he has one of them orange things leaned up against the wall and puts his flat screen TV on it. That is so... This is my first place apartment. He thought it was Art Deco or something. He's 30-something. I think he's 36. That apartment did not look like a 36-year-old lived in it. Things were on the floor. It's just, I don't know. And to look at Juan, he's physically so nice looking in tone and just put together. Looks like a model. You would just think that his apartment would have been just a little bit more than it was. No one's really asking for, designer. Just your basic. It just didn't seem like I wasn't feeling his apartment. Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal came to visit. They asked about concerns. Carla's concern is that she thinks Juan needs to practice more mindfulness. That forgot about Carla, and she just needs to feel like she is a priority in his life, and they point that out to him. And Juan tried to explain what was happening when he forgot about her, that he was in ecstasy when he was at the spa with David. He described it as ecstasy. If only Michelle felt that way about David. Juan doesn't want Carla to withhold her feelings. He says he can see it. I guess he can, it's on her face. Pastor Cal brought up intimacy and said that these two used to be touchy, and now they've pulled back. Juan says he wants to be vulnerable to it, but he doesn't want that feeling to cloud his decision making. So he doesn't want to fall in love. He doesn't want to fall in love with the wrong girl, or he doesn't want her to get the wrong idea. Dr. Pepper wants them to, she suggested that they should have some acts of affection. So they began holding hands. So they see that the experts think that they can see something, a real future with them. People have to let down their guards, maybe find some ways to get closer, because they do seem like they'll be a good match. They just look at them, you would think they were together. Okay, let's talk about Emem and Ikechi. We saw them waking up in their bed, and they had a discussion that Emem was in the middle of the bed for the most part, and she didn't think she was, and he puts his hand smack in the bed. Apparently you're not supposed to cross that line of that mark of demarcation, because that's his side. It's like, when does she ever get close to you? Apparently he's just not having it. I don't know what we're foreshadowing with them in the bed and not being close. Is something going to come to a head in a real weird way? Because he doesn't seem affectionate towards this woman at all. We visit Ikechi's house. Ikechi's house. We visit Ikechi's house, and we look at his room, and I think he lives alone. But it doesn't really look like he lives alone, because the room didn't look like a master bedroom. It just looked like a small second room. Now his living room has all his instruments in it, and it's really nice. nice and big, and the high windows. And so that room really makes me think of a second bedroom, and not the master bedroom. Anyway, M was sitting on his bed, and of course he had to say something about that. Like that, he just made a stupid little comment. It was no big deal, but anything that deals with the bed and things like that, he just, I don't know. I think he thinks he's funny. No, he's not funny. Apparently, he used to be a drummer in school, and he broke his wrist. And he started playing the bass guitar and got really good at it. Okay, we go to Emem's house, and she has a really nice apartment. Out of everybody so far, her apartment is the nicest. A lot nicer than Michelle's, who's successful. Anyway, she has a dog, Rico. She has a wraparound balcony, a karaoke machine, some uplighting that Ikechi noticed. Ikechi was looking around her apartment, and he really noticed all the nice things. And I know he thought to himself, maybe he could muster up enough fake intimacy for this situation to be a part of it. Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal came by for a visit, and they found out that they never had a discussion of their future goals, just their individual goals. And I'm sure, one of his individual goals is reaching 1 million followers or subscribers, because all he cares about is his social media. He's acting like this situation is a joke. And I think, he's seeing how he can work it in his own personal benefit. Everything about this guy just seems fake. MM told the expert she wants to know what he wants in a wife. And he says he wants to see the art in her. What? Just another one of those fake, he thinks he's so enlightened and all this. He's just wasting time giving stupid answers. You're supposed to have written this book and to your letters to your wife. You should be some type of romantic, the way you say you are in this book that you have out there for sale. But in real life, you're corny as I don't know what. You say silly things. She's the homie. You're not affectionate with her. What do you want? What is your end game? They said that they do have physical touch. They do handhold and do kiss on the lips. But we don't really see that. He says that he's in bed by 9 o'clock because he got to get to the gym by 5. Pastor Cal is looking at him. What? And telling him you got to also work on your new marriage. That ever come to your mind? You're not even thinking about her in any kind of way. Do you have somebody else somewhere? Because you don't seem interested in her at all. So do you want money that bad and that driven? And what do you want the money for? Do you have a family on the outside? Another interested special someone in your life? Because the way you act, it doesn't add up that you're here for the right reasons. Anyway, it's just the you're here for a marriage, and you giving Pastor Cal all these excuses. Your mama's watching. You waiting to do this. I want to see the art in you. Why all the excuses, bruh? And on a side note, I know I've said in the past Ikechi looks like Ricky Smiley or nephew Tommy, but I think I got it now. Doesn't Ikechi look like the animated character Arthur? Yeah, he does. Okay, the next couple is Camille and Thomas, and they get to Thomas's house. He has a little 1-bedroom, and he has OCD, everything lined up. I noticed something on the refrigerator that looked like some type of tacks that were lined up really neat, maybe the biggest to the smallest even. Camille goes into his cupboards. What I didn't think he would have is mismatched glassware or anything mismatched. He just had random cups in the cupboard. His clothes were neatly hung in his closet. So he's just, he's quirky. I don't know why he's so controlled with, I don't know. He just seems like he might be a little, autistic. In the way he even sounds when he talks, that monotone talking. I thought about it. He's cute and whatnot. They talked about how he dresses. He dresses fine. His clothes are fine. When Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal came over, everything's okay. She's looking for a little bit more swag. I just think he reminded me of Forrest Gump in the way he sounded and the way he was talking. When they met with the experts, they talked about their similarities, core values, and then their cultural differences, which is so funny because culturally you're the same. But they're both biracial, but he's more white and she's more black. He was raised in a predominantly white neighborhood, and he was teased a lot that he was not black enough, and she didn't have that problem. You can really have a happy life with someone like him. I hope she takes the time to build on that relationship. They're actively trying to build on the relationship, they say. What's missing is his swag potential. She doesn't want him to tell goofy jokes, corny jokes. He told some joke about flossing and bleeding. But the thing is, that wasn't a big deal. If I were to give advice to him, if that's how she feels, especially when she's trying to get to know you and be intimate with you, and she's not seeing the BDE energy, she's not getting that from you. When you tell those little, junior high jokes, it's just kind of a turnoff. She needs, but I honestly thought it was no big deal. And he said it wasn't like an intimate time when he told the joke. It was just an everyday conversation, and she made a face. I just thought, to me, she was a little too sensitive at that moment. But then if he has to compromise, so should she. Anyway, he feels like he has to overcompensate, probably maybe for silent air. Or he thinks maybe it feels awkward, so he fills it up with random stupid talk, maybe not even realizing what he's saying. I really feel sorry for this dude. I think to myself, would I give the guy like that a chance? You know what? I'm going to go out on I would give a guy like that a chance. Because he dresses okay. He's not, weird like Alan's dressing. But that's a really big thing, and I know that Forrest Gump voice might put off, but you can work with him. He's really trying. He's not turned away from you and your ideals and whatever you have. He still wants to be in this with you. So I think that's really good. He's not pouring in all his wants and desires of the culture you think he's of. He's not asking you to change and adapt to that. So I think she needs to compromise a little bit. Later, Camille goes out with her sister, and she says she feels emotionally safe with him, which is a big deal. That, not everybody gets that. But she does feel like she's in an interracial relationship. Which is funny, because again, you're both interracial. You're biracial, but you're products of an interracial relationship, and you don't like it. In a way, that's funny. Funny. Now they're going to be going out to his friend's social gathering. I think it's his brother's swim party. And she's going to be more around what he likes to do socially. And you could just see in her face, I mean, she's acting like, she's being politically correct and, not just totally bashing him outright. I think she's trying to say that he does white things, and she's going to have go along with it, but no way she's going to enjoy this. You can see it on her face that she's already apprehensive about it. It's just in her tone, in her pattern in speaking. She's trying to envision this so-called fun, and I think she's going to be uncomfortable. I mean, in no way she's going to be interested in hockey and mud riding and a can of Heineken. She's not going to be into those things. But she's going to go to this swim party, and he's going to be in a social circle. And I think her sister's going to be there. So we'll all be able, hopefully they'll film it, and we'll all be able to see the interactions of Thomas. It's not going to be as bad as she imagines. Okay, the final couple is Madison and Allen, and their first night in the shared apartment. Madison doesn't even come home. She sleeps at her place because she went out with her friends. Somebody got too drunk or something. They stayed at her house. The next morning, Allen went to the gym, and she came back. And he told her that she went to the gym, and she explained where she was. Madison needs to remember that she's married now, and going out with friends and staying all night with friends is not good. That needs to stop, honestly. Allen is going to get out his hoopty and take a ride over to his house, and Madison's like, "What's a hoopty?" She literally didn't know what a hoopty is. Really, Madison? Well, she finds out what the hoopty is, and the hoopty is a Jaguar, a really nice sports car. How you like him now, Madison? They go over to Alan's house, and he has a closet full of all kinds of hats and a fur coat and gold chain and what, Allison? Alan. Madison says that it's Thug Life Allen in that closet. He looks like you can have this leather jacket it's inside out. It's a fur jacket. I don't know what he's thinking in his head. I don't know. People are different. They're just different, and we can't all be the same. But he had some normal pieces in his wardrobe, so she spotted that and she liked that. It's really a nice apartment. After that visit to his apartment, Madison says the more she learns about Alan, the more she can appreciate him. I bet we can call him Acid Alan. He got a lot of things she likes. Okay, so Pastor Calvin and Dr. Pepper came over for a visit. Alan thinks that their relationship's good. They have good communication and honesty. She says that she's more comfortable with him, especially after she saw all his assets. She's smiling a little bit bigger now. Madison thinks they have a hill to climb in the romantic department. She's not finding any physical chemistry. Later that night, Alan brought over his dog, who is a very active little puppy who was humping around everything. Also, Alan cooks for Madison. He made a great dish. She loved his cooking. So what don't you like about him? He has everything. He has money, fast car, nice place. He loves animals. He cooks. What? He has wardrobe. Well, he has money to change that wardrobe. He's willing to change. He's going to the gym for you. They do. He brings up a conversation about religion. She's not religious. He grew up Catholic. He went to the Catholic school. He doesn't want his kids to be in the Catholic school. That's saying a lot. I wonder why not. Anyway, he wants to know if it's okay if they get their kids baptized. She doesn't have a problem with that. And the little dog, they show him humping all around, all eating up the stuff. It's so funny that Madison says we're going to have to teach the dog manners. And it's so sad to think that this dog is getting more action than poor Alan. Alan brought everything to the table, and he's still not getting any affection from his wife. We have to wait and see, because she can total up those assets in her head, and she's like, this ain't a bad deal after all. Okay, that's it for now. It was interesting. They went to everybody's place, and we finally saw that basement apartment that's so worried Michelle. We got to see if she can overcome what she's witnessed. But that's it for now. Thanks for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I got to go because I got living to do. Bye.